So I would suggest that anybody thinks that this country is in decline, come to cities. Because Democratic mayors all across the nation are creating great places where people want to be, where growth is happening, and where our economy is growing.
Today we start with the soft bigotry of low expectations from New York Governor Kathy Hochul. According to Hochul, young black kids are growing up in the Bronx not knowing what a computer is.
Young black kids growing up in the Bronx who don't even know what the word computer is. They don't know these things. And I want the world open up to all of them, because when you have their diverse voices innovating solutions through technology, then you're really addressing society's broader challenges.
Here is from 2016 with high school kids in the Bronx learning about these obscure new things that no one's ever heard about called computers.
This is one of 6 schools that are participating in our Code Bronx Tech Day, and that's important because we've married some students in high school who are in advanced placement in computer sciences, where they come in and teach our kids how to code, the computer education, and the importance of technology since it's all around us in this day and age.
2 students from the Bronx Campus High School guided these young scholars as computer science role models to egg on future computer scientists. Shaquem Nemhard says he got into coding because of his mother's passion for it.
These comments from Hochul remind me of when Ami Horowitz went to New York City and asked about voter ID laws and whether or not they're racist.
These type of people don't live in areas with easy access to DMVs or other places where they can get identification.
You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
A lot of people have smartphones, but you might not have data.
For most of the communities, they don't really know what is out there just because they're not aware or they're not informed.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you have ID normally? You carry ID around?
Yes, I have state ID.
Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Everyone that I know has an ID. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Because I have my ID and my friends have their ID, so we know what we need to carry around.
Everybody that I know have ID. That's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with, ID.
Do you know any black adult who does not have ID?
No, I don't.
Is it a weird thing to even say that?
Yes, it is.
What is this, some type of trick candy cameras?
I know, right?
That's the only thing I brought with me.
Those are legit IDs. I heard a lot also that black people can't figure out how to get to the DMV.
Really?
What does that say to you?
I know it's that, on 25th Street.
Do you know where the DMV is around you?
It's on 125th Street and 3rd Avenue, I believe.
You know how to get there?
Yeah.
Would you have a problem getting there if you had to get there?
No.
And just remember, according to Hochul, getting a shot is an act of God.
Thank you, God. Thank you. And I wear my vaccinated necklace all the time to say, I'm vaccinated. All of you. Yes, I know you're vaccinated. You're the smart ones, but you know there's people out there who aren't listening to God and what God wants. You know this. You know who they are. I need you to be my apostles. I need you to go out and talk about it and say, we owe this to each other. We love each other. Jesus taught us to love one another. And how do you show that love? But to care about each other enough to say, please get vaccinated because I love you. I want you to live.
Next we have DC Mayor Muriel Bowser taking another victory lap on crime. This time she's complaining to the media, saying that they didn't give enough coverage to the fact that DC went 1 whole week without a murder.
I'm with David with WSA. This is regards off topic again to the, the club shooting on Connecticut Avenue. There's a big message of, getting people out downtown, getting them out to the city more, but then instances like this happen. How do you balance those messages, and how do you address this going forward?
I think that's really a question for our friends in the media. I know you all have been waiting. You didn't report that we had over a week where violence was down, homicide didn't happen. I know you didn't report that, but that's okay. I'll tell you. We had a period of relative peace across all 8 wards, and I want to thank the men and women of MPD, our federal partners, and our community partners who have said enough is enough. And I'm going to learn more about that nightclub shooting. Our business owners, our nightclubs, our ABC licensees, they have an extra duty when they invite people into their facilities to ensure safety. And we are going to hold them accountable for doing that. So I'm going to learn more about the instances that happen at that particular club, because we don't want anybody to come to a club to have a good time and be confronted with a person willing to use a gun. I understand, I believe that there was an arrest made in this case, and we're going to follow this case and make sure that there is justice served.
It should be noted that in the week before this period that she's discussing, they had two 15-year-old kids shot in the city. This is something that she's been attempting to do lately. About a month ago, she said this.
Muriel Bowser, there's few cities in the country that, you know, when you're young, if you get a chance to live in D.C., it's like, I'm going to do it. And it's such a vibrant, amazing place, and the seat of power, everything else. Thank you. There's going to be a but coming because my daughter's there, and I'm a nervous person already. So she's in her 20s. I already worry. She worries. She's scared. She doesn't feel safe. She had a place broken into, and someone got shot on her block. And she wanted me to just ask you, what's the answer? Do you have a plan? Is it broken windows that you got to do more of that, or is it more funding for police? What's the plan? Should she feel safe in D.C., Mayor Bowser?
Absolutely, and this is what you should know. I just got an update from my deputy mayor, and crime is down in all categories in Washington, D.C.
Basically, what she's trying to do is compare the first few months of 2024 against the previous few years in D.C., which were high crime years, even by D.C. standards. But even MSNBC, just at the end of 2023, was talking about D.C. in this way.
And now we're seeing in Washington, D.C. Actually, the Washington Post yesterday reported that there was a sharp rise over the past year in Washington, D.C., with homicide shootings and armed carjackings really rattling the capital of America.
According to Metropolitan Police Department data, violent crime is up 39% this year, with homicides seeing a 28% increase and sexual abuse up 6%. Meanwhile, property crime is also seeing a major increase. Total theft up 27%, while motor vehicle theft is up 110%.
And here's the deputy mayor of D.C. being questioned by Matt Gaetz in a House hearing.
Madam Deputy Mayor, are people more or less safe this year compared to last year in Washington, D.C.?
Sorry, I can't say whether they're more or less safe. I can say that crime is up, and so long as anyone doesn't feel safe, then that's an issue for us.
Would higher crime rates be one of the more important indicators as to whether or not people are more or less safe?
It would be an indicator as to whether or not people feel more or less safe. So it's something that we certainly look at in determining that.
I don't know. I think people could feel unsafe even if they were safe, but this doesn't seem to be a delusion, right? The cases of sexual assault rose 111% over the course of a year. Homicides increased by 38%. Motor vehicle thefts doubled, increasing 106%. Instances of arson over 125%. And carjackings by 55%. Why do you think that is?
There's a host of complex reasons why that's the case. You've heard some. We talk about our ecosystem, policy reasons. Right,
do you think those soft on crime policies are one reason?
I don't know that I would say soft on crime policies. What I would say is that there's a number of reforms in policy that have been made in the district that we believe need to be adjusted, which is why there's been a number of proposals from the mayor, legislation passed by the council to take a look at where we're getting the type of impact that we don't want.
I agree with Mr. App that the only way this works is with collaboration. And so what do you think you would highlight as like the main policy change that the mayor has proposed that could maybe put some downward pressure on this rising violent crime?
Sure. There's a host of proposals that the mayor made related to penalty enhancements, to aligning penalties for gun crimes with federal penalties. So there's those, but there's also those on information sharing.
So hold on, let's start with those though. But the underlying premise there is that enhanced punishment can have a deterrent effect and reduce crime, right?
We absolutely agree with that. Yes, that accountability is an important part of crime deterrence.
And I'm definitely not blaming you for this because it's not your job, but when we look at the fact that the prosecutor over the DC area has doubled their declinations, like from your standpoint on the front lines in city government, do you think that doubling the number of declinations goes in the right direction or the wrong direction?
I would say that what we believe is that if MPD has made arrests, that people need to be held appropriately accountable. We always maintain that, Mayor Bowser.
But like it seems like the underlying premise of appropriately accountable is to have penalty enhancements. That it's not as if you think people are being held too accountable, it's that they're not being held accountable enough, right?
There absolutely needs to be accountability for those who engage in violent crime.
I think Ms. Richards would probably agree with that. Your testimony was harrowing, but it could really concern me that people might not be willing to do these life-saving, critically important jobs like firefighting and EMS if they feel like they're going into a war zone. You gave testimony about what it was like to wait on police as you're trying to save people's lives and help them. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
I mean, that's the state that we're in right now. You know, I mean, I've waited in excess of 20 minutes before to try to get MPD on scene for a violent call.
What do you do for 20 minutes?
We stage and we wait because at this point, we're no longer going in, we're not going to those scenes.
And what happens to the people that need
therefore
your
the
help?
citizens are not getting treated, right? They can't have our services because it's not safe for us to go in there.
That sounds like life or death to me, that people could actually die because we don't have enough police to keep even our own first responders safe that want to save people's lives. Have you been confronted with these type of life or death situations where people can't get the care they need because you're waiting for firepower and cover to be able to go help people?
I can say that yes, there's been times where we have to wait. And like I said, I've waited personally myself in excess of 20 minutes for MPD to arrive on scene.
Yeah, I would observe, Mr. Chairman, that D.C. has some of the strongest gun control laws in the country, and increasingly the law-abiding people, the people who want to be helpful, who want to be good neighbors, are constrained by those gun control laws, and yet the violent criminals are putting Ms. Richards and all the people who want to do the good work she does in graver danger, and that might be something worthy of some federal review.
You're not thwarting or stopping your police from engaging right on the streets, arresting and bringing in carjackers.
That's correct. There are a number of policing strategies. All of these have to work together. So
and you are respecting the police for them to do their job.
Mayor Bowser is that you will find no mayor who is more supportive of the police than Mayor Bowser.
What is it?
We are very proud of that art. But will you take out the part that says defund police? Well, it's not a part of the mural, and we certainly encourage expression, but we are using the city streets for city art. In other words, that will go away. You will paint over that. I actually haven't even had an opportunity to review it.
Well, I think that a lot of people have different meanings for what they mean when they say defund the police. And as I've listened and read, I think most people are saying that they want reform and that they want good policing.
We want to be very clear. When we say defund MPD, we mean get the budget to zero. We are working towards an abolitionist future where we don't have police and we don't have policing as a measure of harming our communities.